Seeing none, we're ready to proceed to the approval of the docket.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the docket. However, I notice that we have a matter number 12 under the ordinances that has a potential hearing.
Yes, that's me.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to put that on without a public hearing. So moved.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion and second to not conduct a public hearing with regard to item 12 under the ordinances. Any discussion? Those in favor, please indicate by voting aye electronically. Those opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We're now ready to vote on the original motion to approve the docket as amended now with regard to item number 12. Any further discussion on the docket? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Those in favor, please vote aye. Those opposed, vote nay electronically. Motion carries. We have minutes from 3 previous meetings. Excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong docket. We have approval of a summary for October 30th. Is the next item on the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor, please vote aye electronically.
Excuse me, Mayor. I'm not hearing who's doing the motions and the seconds.
Okay, we have motion from Councilmember Ellinger, second from Councilmember Stevens. It appears as though the votes are satisfactory to approve the summary of October 30th. Motion carries. Takes us down to budget amendments. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
I second.
Councilmember DeCamp moves for approval of the budget amendments, and Councilmember Gorton has seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote electronically.
It won't even come up.
The clerk will reset the ballot. Those in favor vote aye orally.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We move on with this. I don't think it's too contentious. New business items is the next item on the business. Is there a motion? Councilmember Gorton has moved the approval of the items of new business. Councilmember James has seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none.
Speakers.
All right. Councilmember Blevins.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to draw everyone's attention to item O and congratulate the mayor and his staff on an excellent project pulling together all our trails. We got to hear a nice presentation from Charlie Boland and the team the other night, and it was just outstanding in every way. I was very pleased, and I'm pleased to support this. Second thing I'd like to discuss is item Y is a good example. I'd like to request that in a future meeting we have HR come and explain the process for reevaluating the positions when we're reclassing positions, as in, for example, item Y here. Just like to have an overview of the process, where we stand and sort of statistically, how many we've done, how many you anticipate coming. We've had a bunch of these this year, and it gives the impression that we are either catching up on a backlog or we're doing them a little bit too rapid. So maybe at a future work session we could have a presentation that gets us caught up on how this looks.
Commissioner Cole, would you arrange for a presentation from our folks in Human Resources on that effect, to that effect? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Maloney.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to talk about V.
Did you say V?
Trails. V as in victory.
Okay.
Who do I need to talk to on that? I mean, this is the first time I've seen this, and I just want to know if the neighborhood association, are they being involved in these trails, or has anybody contacted them? You're going to be affecting 2 neighborhoods, and I figured they would have an input on this, and I just want to know how these things are working.
This is a grant opportunity that was just announced by Gold, And this was a project that is on that first list of trails. We wanted to pick a project that we could do by June 30th of '08. This is a project that's ready to go, so we could make an application, then we could complete it. But it's already a project that's on that original list of trails.
If I understand the application, I think it's great. The only problem I have is, are the neighbors being involved, the neighborhood association, who is being involved with the trails being designed? Because I'm afraid, once this goes in, and you get these trails going in, and no one in these two neighborhoods have any input or anything about this, and I'm going to be sitting down here with a room full of people saying, why no one informed us about this?
This trail is completely on government property. It's not requiring any easements off of government property. It is solely for the day treatment center and to connect through to Addison Park. If we were extending trail onto areas not solely on our property, we would be involving.
Well, I understand that, but you're not a politician. And it's easy for you to sit up here and say that because it's not on property, but when it has an impact on a lot of foot traffic and all that, which I think that the public needs to be educated, especially these kind of neighborhoods, any neighborhood association that's going to get a lot of foot traffic, which I think is a great thing. I'm just afraid that no one knows about this, and especially when you have two major neighborhood associations that are going to be impacted by this. I think when you all start making these trail decisions, which I think is wonderful, I think everybody, the public, the people who live in those areas, should have an input on it.
Right, there already is an existing trail.
Do what?
This trail already exists, it's mulched, and this grant would simply pave it.
I never knew there was a trail there.
At the day treatment center, they put it in last year.
Well, I mean, I remember last year we had a lot of foot traffic and motorcycles going all up and down that trail, and we put a fence up in Addison to keep people from cutting through there because of the motorcycles, and that's what I'm afraid.
You're correct, that portion's not there, but the main bulk of the money will be used to pave the trail that's already mulched at the day treatment center.
Yeah, but didn't we put a fence up to block that off because of the motorcycles were going through there?
Off-site,
That private property?
I'm not familiar with the fence that was put up.
There was a fence put up so we wouldn't have motorcycles and all that going through there. And that's what I'm wondering, is that going to go down now? And that's going to open back up? I mean, that's why I'm just trying to tell you.
Right.
We had this meeting last year. We put a fence up there to keep motorcycles from going through there and all them traffic would, and now we're going to be taking this thing down again. And it's going to be a trail.
We don't.
I don't have a problem. I mean, I think it's great for.
We don't know that. We don't know that. We have not completed the final design for the trail. When we apply for grants, we often are applying with a conceptual alignment in mind. And I don't know, I'm sorry, I don't know of the details. I offered to provide design services.
I think it's a wonderful idea, but I still think you need public input, especially if you end up opening that gate up after we inform both neighborhoods that that gate was cut off because there was a problem, and it's going to open up traffic again. I'm going to be sitting here getting the heat. You all won't get the heat, but I'll get the heat.
Well, that's noted. I'll look at that when we look at the design. We'll look at that.
All right, well, I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Mr. Bowen.
Just to address, I think, your real question, Councilmember Maloney, in the sense of neighborhoods being involved early on, part of the presentation we made at the workshop is a renewed focus on a person within the government who would actually serve as a coordinator for greenways and trails out of existing funding, so forth, to address just the problem you mentioned, and a new format by which we consider trail projects every year so that we can see ahead of the game, maybe in ways we've not been able to do before or were less coordinated on before, so that neighborhoods are engaged, council members are aware of these things as they go forward. And so that's part of what we're trying to address with the
Well, if you can, there's two neighborhood associations, Addison and Pine Meadows. Someone needs to get both of those presidents in touch with this, because we fought this last year to close it off because of the motorcycle traffic. I just want to make sure that you all have a plan that this isn't going to happen again, and so everybody be on the same page.
Well, to address your concerns, our group will take that up with those two neighborhood associations.
Thank you.
Councilmember Stevens.
I withdraw my request. I've been trying to hit my finger on the right button here, but nothing happened, so I have nothing, no request.
I've been in that position myself with the screen, so I understand. Councilmember Stinnett.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple items on item A. To me, this is a precedent that we're setting. I understand that these folks have been under a great deal of overtime work, which was mandatory, and we're allowing the extension of vacation hours into another fiscal year, Mayor. But got several questions on that. Who is here to answer those questions? And while Commissioner Bennett's coming up, going back to what Councilmember Blevins said on the reclassification process, not to pick on Y, but item Y, excuse me, there are several things that we asked for. I think Councilmember Myers asked specifically back in the spring that each one of these reclassifications come to us in a specific format. And that is still not being done, Mayor. So if we can have that presentation on the reclassification process very soon at the council work session, because if you look at the police item on page 31, that's exactly the format we've asked for. But yet on page 67, that is not the format. It doesn't tell us anything about existing salaries and what the new salaries are. So we need to start seeing that. That's part of the frustration from council, and I thank Councilmember Blevins for bringing that up today. Commissioner?
Yes, sir.
What is the status of our 911 Operations Center? I understand they're working a lot of extra hours of overtime because of staffing problems. Where are we at in addressing some of those issues?
We're in the process right now of recruiting both call takers and dispatchers. David Lucas is working closely with Human Resources to try to accomplish that. They're using some, I think, fairly innovative advertising techniques to get folks' attention and get some folks in here. They're also looking at some temporary staffing, using folks that also are certified in other counties, bringing them in here on an as-needed basis to try to fill some of the gaps. We're hoping by the end of the year to at least be able to hire some of these folks. One of the delays that we have in getting them online, though, is the certification process, the training they have to go through at the Department of Criminal Justice Training in Richmond. So we're trying to work through that process. One of the other stumbling blocks is we can't just backfill with uncertified people. We can only use certified folks in the communication centers, both call takers and dispatchers. So that's one of the challenges we have. In terms of extending the carryover for vacation time, this is not the first time it's been done. It was done in community corrections several years ago when we had some staffing challenges there as we were ramping up to move from the old jail to the new jail. And then as we were trying to keep staff and stem the turnover at the new until we got some stability there. It's kind of a one-time deal. They're able to carry it over for that 1 year. David and I have talked, and I've also talked with Michael Allen. This will be the last year that we'll, A, be asking for it, or B, that we'll be allowing them to do it. We want to get the staffing up and get the stability so that we won't be facing this issue again.
Do you know have the jobs been advertised?
Yes.
And how many vacancies do we currently have?
I don't know at this point. I'll
7, I think, during the budget process,
Yeah.
but I wasn't sure if we've made any headway at all. But they have been advertised?
Yes.
So we are out on
both
the
call
street.
takers and dispatchers, yes. Or telecommunicators and telecommunicator senior, as they're called.
Okay, and thank you for making this is a one-time.
This will be the last time we ask for this. It's also an area that's being looked at as part of the management audit, and we expect some recommendations from management partner as far as addressing the number of staff we have in the communication centers.
Well, thank you and your staff. You've been excellent in addressing some of the issues we've had from my area the last several months. I just wanted to re-clarify this for everyone in government. We're not doing this for everybody.
Exactly.
So this is a unique situation that requires us to have mandatory overtime.
Right.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Cole, I take it you heard Councilmember Stennett's concerns about the reports that come in with reclassification. So if you'd add that to the list of things for Human Resources to address as quickly as we can, I'd appreciate it. Councilmember James.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a question regarding Q, item Q. I wondered if someone could address, I guess it would be from Human Resources. Any takers?
I don't know if Commissioner Kelly can respond to your particular inquiries. If not, we'll try to get somebody from Human Resources.
Thank you.
I'll attempt to do so.
Thank you, Commissioner. We took away civil service positions at some point, and now we're adding temp positions. Is that kind of, why are the temp positions?
It's to bridge a gap. We're in the process of hiring new drivers, operators, and some of those don't have CDLs. And so what we're doing is using temporary positions during a busy time to fulfill that. So it's just sort of a stopgap measure.
So we do have some applications going through in the process for some
Yes.
permanent
We do have.
positions.
Several. We do have.
Thank you very much. That's all I have, Mayor.
Any further discussion of the items of new business? I think we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve those, so we already have the motion, so I think we're ready to vote. Those in favor, please indicate by voting aye electronically. Those opposed, vote nay electronically. Motion carries. Thank you very much. All right. Next item on the agenda is the Services Committee report.
Thank you, Mayor.
There you are.
We met on October 30th. We had all committee members in attendance. It was a very short meeting. We had one item on the agenda, and I'll bring that forward. We have a motion by Councilmember McCord to reduce the speed limit on Kavanaugh Lane to 25 miles an hour, and it was seconded by Councilmember Myers and passed without dissent. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor, please vote electronically. Those opposed also vote electronically. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor. And then the last part of the meeting, we went over different items in committee and had quite a few items that we decided that we were going to take out of committee. With that, that is all we did. We adjourned by 1:15. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Any questions concerning the Services Committee report? I think then we are ready to move to the council report. Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one item. I wanted to thank council members for allocating funds from neighborhood development funds to God's Pantry Food Bank. The boxes for the family Thanksgiving meals were packed over the weekend, and the Neighborhood Development Fund money was able to fund 41 and a half boxes. So that's that many families that will benefit over Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Stinnett.
Thank you, Mayor. As we all know, last Tuesday, you received the Immigration Task Force recommendations, and I appreciate your timeliness in getting the council a copy of it. There's a lot of debate out in our community and our districts regarding immigration, and I am passing around a couple reports that I think council needs to have in their possession that were not included with the recommendation from the Immigration Task Force. These are two congressional reports that basically say on the front cover, enforcing immigration law, the role of local governments. I think this is the best piece I've seen out there that really gives this council an idea of what we can and cannot do in regards to immigration. So I hope you can use this information wisely. And at the same time, I'd like to make a motion to put the recommendation task or the Immigration Task Force recommendations into the Council Services Committee for further discussion. So,
Have a motion second to refer the recommendations of the Immigration Commission to the Services Committee. Any discussion? And those in favor, please vote aye electronically. Those opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
thank you, Mayor. And then yesterday, we had our retreat, which was well attended by council and the administration, and it was an opportunity to reflect on the past year and also look forward to what we have in store for us the next 12 months. And one of the things we did talk about that we as a council have given very little attention to this point is economic development. And I think there's a great opportunity for this council to get together over the next 12 months and really start pushing some of those economic development incentives that we want for our community. One would be in terms of policy and some of the areas we need to focus on for retail, for jobs, of course, and many other areas, and work with our new Economic Development Director, Anthony Wright, work with Commerce Lexington, work with all the agencies out there, but as a body together work to make sure that we're putting our I guess, brain trust to work and coming up with some excellent and creative ideas to really make economic development happen. And with that, I'd like to ask the Vice Mayor if he would so willing form yet another task force, this time an economic development task force, and have all the council be a member of it, and look at ways to work with the administration and help them to bring more jobs to Lexington, because as we all just talked about yesterday, 83% of our revenue comes from those jobs. And I think this would be a first time council is going to take an active role in assisting the administration, because I think it's so convenient just to say, Mayor, it's your job, you go do it. But I think we need to support him in any way we can in those endeavors. So, Vice Mayor, if you could do that, I'd like to make the motion that we do create the Economic Development Task Force. So moved.
Any discussion? Then those in favor, please indicate by voting aye electronically.
Did I understand that you suggested all members of the council be appointed?
I would say we all should have an opportunity to be appointed if we want that opportunity.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, the motion is for the council to be appointed as a task force to focus on economic development, and I think everyone has voted except Councilmember Ellinger. And looks like it's now unanimous.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And let me tell you, you are entirely correct. This is an issue that's critically important, and certainly to the degree Mr. Wright or the folks from Commerce Lexington can assist in that endeavor, we'll ask them to do so, because it's in our mutual best interest to make our economy start humming. Thanks very much. Councilmember McCord.
Thank you, Mayor, and I certainly seconded that motion. As everybody knows, that's something that's near and dear to my heart, that we absolutely have to get down to business of job creation, and I think this council has, over the last 2 or 3 years, really started to put the resources where they are needed to do this, and so I think that now we need to start moving towards enacting policy and accountability, and so I look forward to that task force. On a couple other issues that we want to bring attention to, on November 17th, this Saturday, the Kentucky Recs and Parks Society is honoring the Bluegrass Miracle League for one of their outstanding achievement awards at the Campbell House this weekend. We were very glad to nominate them, and now they're being recognized within our state as a model for recreation. And I'm so pleased that the Bluegrass Miracle League resides in the 9th District at Shiloh Park. Also, I had mentioned up until last week the Jesus Prom that was held at Southland Christian Church last Friday. The Jesus Prom is a prom that's put on for the physically and mentally challenged, not only in our community, but surrounding counties and surrounding communities. And I just wanted to thank Chief Beatty and his wife for coming by that night. We had over 2,000 special needs prom attendees and over 1,500 volunteers, and truly this was an amazing night, and probably the best night, and a real testament to Brewster McLeod and to all those that are involved in putting this on. In fact, we had folks from Wichita, Kansas fly in to study this, and there's probably about 7 different communities that have come in to study this and bring it back to their communities. So my congratulations to them. Also, to echo Councilmember Stennett's comments, Mayor, I appreciate the opportunity to sit down in our 3rd retreat just in 11 months as a council and an administration to just talk about what are our priorities, where are we going, what are we doing, not only individually but collectively. And I think yesterday was a great day. And again, I appreciate your willingness and the Vice Mayor's willingness to organize that and put those things together. Lastly, if it's okay, Bob and Chad, I'd like to have Chad Harpo come to the mic and introduce himself, but I want to give a brief bio. Chad Harpo is our new Vice President at Commerce Lexington for public policy. And Chad's a native of Georgetown, and has been with the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce for a while, and Chad's primary goal is to assist us, the mayor's office, in lobbying Frankfurt as well as Washington, D.C., and you come with a very nice resume, and I just wanted an opportunity to say welcome first and foremost, but also give you a chance to introduce yourself and share how you'd like to maybe work with us as a body.
Thank you, Councilman McCord. I appreciate you all having us down today, and Bob Quick as well, and Mayor. I wanted to get in front of you all and just say how happy I am to be here and look forward to working with you. And I've met with a few of you already, and the rest of you I hope to get to meet with you on an individual basis and introduce myself a little bit further. But I am really encouraged about the partnership that we have going between the council and the mayor's office and our friends at UK and the friends at the horse park and everyone just coming together to approach the issues on a regional basis. And what's good for the region is good for Lexington. And I'm really looking forward to working with you all. And for those of you that haven't got to sit down with me yet, I hope to do that soon, and look forward to getting in touch with you and doing that. But if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to take them, but really looking forward to it.
Thanks, Chad, and if you would, I think it'd probably be good if you just began making the rounds and started setting up individual meetings with council members to kind of explain what your role is and how you can be utilized to the best. And
absolutely, and as Jay mentioned, I'll be working a lot on local issues, a lot of state issues, as federal issues as well as the region. So appreciate that, and I'll be in touch soon.
Thank you, Chad. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember McCord, I think you're the second or third person that's mentioned the retreat, and I just want to tell you that I really appreciate everybody making the effort to be there yesterday. I know some of you couldn't attend, but we had a really, really good turnout from the council. I appreciate Vice Mayor Gray making those arrangements. It takes two to tango, you know, and if you all weren't willing to try to participate in that process, it would not succeed. So thank you all for your presence yesterday. Councilmember Blues.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know if all of you had an opportunity to read the memo I put in your mailbox this morning related to the Masterson Station Parks Advisory Board's desire to change the roster of membership on that board slightly. We have now a fairly significant international sports community in Lexington, and several of those players use Masterson Station Park particularly for soccer games. And so we would like to have a member from that community on the advisory board. So the advisory board is recommending that we, instead of a member from the Newtown Pike corridor, we replace that slot with one from the international sports community. And so I would like to make a motion to amend the ordinance accordingly and put that on the docket for a Thursday meeting. And is it appropriate to do that at this time?
I think it would be to add that to the docket for Thursday.
Okay, I shall read the, what, you want me to read the description of the ordinance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
An ordinance amending Section 2-87A of the Code of Ordinances to change the composition of the Masterson Station Park Advisory Board by deleting one member from the Newtown Pike corridor and adding a member from the international sports community. So moved.
I second.
Have a motion and second to add that ordinance to the docket for November 15th. Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you. I just have a question. Do you know the rationale for including the Newtown Pike corridor in the beginning?
I think that the rationale originally might have been to include as many members from Northwest Lexington as possible. But Newtown Pike corridor is really better related to Coldstream Park than to Masterson Station Park. And that park advisory board is well represented by folks from the Leestown Corridor, plus the various organizations who have a stake in the park, the equestrian people, the LISA, the Lions Club, and so on.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Then those in favor of amending the docket to include the ordinance just read by Councilmember Blues, please indicate by voting aye. Those opposed, vote nay electronically. Motion carries.
And Mayor, I have a few announcements. This evening at 7 p.m., the Citizens Leadership Academy will hold its graduation ceremony at Black and Williams Center in the gymnasium. That academy's been meeting for several weeks, learning about the workings of government, and Councilmember Myers and I had the pleasure of hosting them one night a few weeks ago here in Chambers, and we got a pretty good workout from all of the questions from those folks. So they're completing their course and celebrating the graduation tonight, and all are welcome to attend. On Thursday, November the 15th, from the hours of 5 p.m. until 8 p.m., the Newtown, there will be a Newtown Pike widening public meeting. That's kind of an open house for the general public. Everyone who might be interested in that widening project from the interstate to New Circle Road. There will be displays. There will be engineers and administrators from District 7 of the Department of Highways, and so I encourage the public to attend that open house and learn more about this upcoming project. District 7 office is located at 763 West New Circle Road. The best way to get there is to drive out Newtown, just go past New Circle and take a right turn at the Shell station and follow the road to the offices. Finally, next Monday, November 19th, the Winburn Neighborhood Association will meet at 6:30 p.m. at the Martin Luther King Park Community Center. Thank you, Mayor. That's my report.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Stevens.
The Ashland Neighborhood Association will meet at 3 p.m. on this Sunday, November the 18th, at the Henry Clay establishment in an outbuilding, not outhouse, but the outbuilding. And this neighborhood association received an award yesterday from the Environmental Commission for redoing the island at Chenoweth and Richmond Road at their expense with the Shriners Neighborhood Association. They tore out the old vegetation, put new in, and did some other improvements. I wanted to thank Streets and Roads also for replacing the curb, which had been knocked down by many vehicles in the past. And I would say our retreat yesterday is now already turned into an advance. And these retreats, I think, are very helpful and useful. Sorry I wasn't there for the whole day. The council received several weeks ago a report from the Downtown Development Authority on the Downtown Master Plan. And I believe it would be appropriate for us to look at that plan in some detail in a public meeting. I would like to refer the Downtown Master Plan as presented to us by Mr. Tate, the director of that authority, to the Planning Committee. I've spoken to Mr. Tate about it and to Councilwoman Gorton, who's chairman of that committee, and both are agreeable. So I move the referral of the Downtown Master Plan to the Planning Committee of the Council.
We have a second by Councilmember Ellinger. Motion is to refer the Downtown Master Plan to the Planning Committee. Any discussion? Seeing none, those in favor, please vote electronically. Aye. Those opposed, vote nay electronically. Motion carries.
Thank you. That completes my report.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Myers.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a motion to make. The Industrial Revenue Bond Committee met yesterday, and I move to place on the docket for Thursday, November 15th, for first reading, a resolution approving the issuance by the County of Clark of industrial revenue bonds for Crossroads Christian Church of Lexington Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $5.75 million. So moved.
Is there a second? I have a second from Councilmember James. Any discussion? Those in favor,
I do
please-
have a question.
I'm sorry, Councilmember Stevens.
What does the church plan to build with that money?
Actually, they're not going to build anything. It's basically a refinance. So they're refinancing their debt to get a better rate term.
And what are they, is that on the sanctuary, or is that on
It
the?
is not on the sanctuary. They have enough equity in their current mortgage to ensure that none of these monies are going towards the sanctuary, even though the sanctuary is a dual purpose.
Okay, because I think I understood that there was a restriction about industrial revenue bonds for religious institutions, and, sorry, for educational buildings, recreational things, but not for sanctuaries. Is that my understanding? Is my understanding correct?
Actually, that's, I don't think, completely correct and accurate, but in any case, in this situation, it's not going towards the sanctuary.
So what is correct?
The restriction that you're talking about is not there, but that's a whole other debate. But
Okay. We'll save that for another day, I guess.
All right. The motion is to add the resolution to the docket for the November 15th meeting. Is there further discussion on that motion? Seeing none, let's continue to vote. I think 3 folks have already voted. The motion carries. Anything further, Councilmember
that
Myers?
concludes my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Blevins.
Thank you, Mayor. Move approval of the NDF this week, please.
Second.
I have a motion and second to approve the NDF. Any discussion? Those in favor, please indicate by voting aye electronically. Those opposed, vote nay electronically. Motion carries.
A couple of announcements, Mayor. I'd like to send out a hearty congratulations to 2 groups in the 10th District for their accomplishments in the environmental awards that were given out yesterday. The first one is Good Foods Co-op, which is a business on Southland Drive that's done some incredible work in terms of energy efficiency and recycling within their business. They are truly a community leader, and I'm really proud to have them in the 10th District. They've set the bar pretty high for all other businesses, and I hope others will follow. Second is the Southland Association has also been recognized for their work in beautifying the corridor there, and I invite everyone to go down Southland Drive and take a look at the railroad trestle, which has finally been painted for the first time in 60-some-odd years, and it looks a lot better. One individual I'd like to thank in particular is Phil Wyant, who's worked tirelessly, as well as my predecessor, Sandy Schaefer, to make this come about. It was an incredible combination of talent and effort to get it done, despite some heavy resistance from certain entities that won't go named. But I'm glad to see it's finally done. One last announcement is the Garden Springs Neighborhood Association tonight at 7 p.m. at Gethsemane Lutheran Church. That's all I have, Mayor. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember James.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a motion, and I will tell a little bit of a story about it before I say it. With us as a city looking to make everything pedestrian-friendly and walkable, we need to also keep in mind those people that are disabled and use electric wheelchairs to get around, or motorized wheelchairs to get around. And on Russell Cave Road, we had an impassable railroad track right there by WLAX-TV. And we had a resident from that lives in the area right around that area by Legend Stadium and all that couldn't get over those railroad tracks without going into the middle of the street. So I would definitely encourage other council members, if you have railroad tracks in your area, please can make sure that those are handicap accessible without putting that citizen in harm's way. So my motion, I move to place on the docket for Thursday, November 15th, a resolution authorizing the mayor on behalf of the Irving County government to execute a crossing license agreement with R.J. Corman Railroad Company, Central Kentucky Lines, LLC, for the construction and maintenance of a pedestrian crossing of railroad tracks on Russell Cave Road.
Second.
Thank you.
Have a motion by Councilmember James, second by Councilmember McCord, to enter into the license agreement that was described. Any discussion? Councilmember Beard.
Councilmember James, there are others of these around the city. One I think of that comes to mind is on 4th Street, going west on 4th Street. There is a terrible grade crossing there. And I'm not even sure how they would even begin to fix the thing, because the elevation changes from the baseline of the road up to where the tracks are about maybe 3 feet. And but I think maybe we need to get after these everywhere they occur, not just in one place. Not that I would vote against yours, but I just would like to see us go further with it if we could.
I agree, Councilmember Beard, and I think we got to start somewhere and showing progress on this one area. Thank you to Commissioner Cully for working with the railroad. And you're right, we do need to find out where all of these occur and fix them all if we can. But we can definitely use this one as a model of how to do it right. So thank you.
Any further discussion? Then those in favor of the motion to add that item to the agenda on the 15th, please indicate by voting aye electronically. Those opposed vote nay. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor. I also wanted to mention that last night at Shiloh Baptist Church, the Black Church Coalition was the sponsor for the Don't Borrow Trouble program. And thanks to our community development department here, Chris Ford and Vanessa Kay specifically, we had a great panel discussion regarding predatory lending, foreclosures, subprime loans, and ways to avoid those things and alternatives to that type of lending. And I appreciate all the effort that community development, as well as representatives of the Kentucky Fair Housing, and I'm forgetting some other folks, and I know it. There were some mortgage brokers that came and participated. Premier Mortgage was represented there last evening. Dia Davidson was the MC for the night, and Anna Johnson, who I believe formerly worked for Urban County Government and Community Development, she was there as a representative of the Black Church Coalition. It was a great fruitful and productive conversation regarding how to avoid the traps of predatory lending. And if you know anyone that's in a situation where they may be looking to take on a predatory lending loan, or somebody that goes and uses those check cashing places, and they're using them to the point of where they're infringing upon their quality of life, please check with community development. They have a number where they can get some help. So I just wanted to say thank you to them. Also, if you didn't see the press release or see the press conference, we had a great celebratory announcement this morning at Georgetown Street over near the O'Rear Center on Douglas Park. The mayor unveiled plans to extend sewers, roads, on a site on Georgetown Street so that nonprofit agencies can build 19 affordable single-family homes. In conjunction with the Housing Authority and other nonprofits, we'll be able to have 19 affordable lots available for home building. So that was very exciting, and thank you, Mayor, for including me in that process. I was happy to be there. Also wanted to give a couple of announcements. The James Brown Neighborhood Association, which actually doesn't exist yet, it's actually just a neighborhood, but for the first time we'll be meeting on November the 19th, and we're really excited about bringing this area together. This is an area of the 1st District that sits across the street from everywhere else that the 1st District lays. It's actually across Winchester Road. There's a James, I'm probably saying it's not James, I think it's James Avenue, Brown Avenue. It's over behind Sonic in that area, and it's kind of a disconnected neighborhood from the rest of the district because I think it abuts Dr. Stevens' district and abuts Councilmember Stenett's district, so it kind of sits alone. So we're trying to bring those folks together. So if you're watching this and you live in this area, please be sure, I know Sarah's out dropping flyers right now, but please attend our meeting on November the 19th at 6:30 at the Central Kentucky Job Center, which is where the home of the previous Mayor's Training Center over on Industry Road, I believe it is. But please come to that meeting at 6:30 on November the 19th. Look for the signs. We'll have signs posted. We'd love to get to see you all come together and work as a neighborhood over there and talk about the issues and praise some good things that are happening there. Also, on this Thursday, November 15th, two organizations that sit in my district are having open houses. The Nest, which sits at 530 North Limestone, which is right at the corner of 5th and Lime, will have an open house from 12 to 1. And this is a great asset to our community. The Nest is, well, they do many things, but one of the things that they do is offer free drop-in child care for emergency situations. So from 12 to 1, please check that open house out there. For more information, call my office. And also OWL, if you're not familiar with OWL, they are situated at 650 Kennedy Road, which is off Newtown Pike. And they're having their open house beginning at 1 o'clock on Thursday. I would love for all council members to be able to attend to see what a great service OWL provides. They offer job opportunities for those that wouldn't normally be able to work in regular mainstream jobs. We've got some disabled folks, former felons, people such as that, and the more you work, the more you earn. So it's definitely a way to build some job experience. And lastly, the North Side Neighborhood Association will have their annual open meeting at the Graham Cottage, which is located near Trancey campus, and that's 6:30 on Thursday as well. So for any of that information, if you need me to repeat that to you, please feel free to call me at 258-3216. I'll be happy to share all of that information with you. That was a mouthful. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Maloney.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things. She brought up the problems with people in electric wheelchairs. For the third time in about 2 weeks on Versailles Road, we have had to help some people who have been stuck on the sidewalk. If anybody's ever been down Versailles Road to see how bad them sidewalks are, and we have to help these handicapped people get home. It's been pretty rough. I just hope someone from the city goes out there and looks at those sidewalks, because it is very dangerous, and being as close as it is to the road, and with the World Equestrian coming in and all that, and I believe that's going to be the main entrance, probably one of the two main entrances into Lexington. I asked Mayor that you get your administration to kind of have someone go out there and check out them sidewalks, if you could, because it is dangerous out there. And second, my report, a couple weeks ago, I talked about Ingleside. I have Adam Jones, who's the president of Addison Neighborhood Association. He wants to give you an update on some problems that the Ingleside apartment complex, trailer park has had, and he wants to give you all a heads up. And I think what Councilman James, she's had some problems with in her district with some trailer park that are coming, that maybe have some people may buy down the road. He wants to give you what problems they have had and to give everybody a notice of what problems we're having. But you can come on up, Adam. Thanks.
Thank you, Richard, for having me here. Sorry I forgot my tie. I meant to put that on this morning. I'm here to represent the residents of Ingleside Mobile Home Park. Many of them are, at this point, very afraid and nervous. I spoke with Marie Knight on Sunday, and she was in tears because she had heard a rumor that the park had been sold, and haven't been very well informed at all as to what's going on with this contract. And I don't argue with the legality of, the landowner has the right to sell his property. I agree with that, and the buyer has the right to buy it. It's just, and I don't know if there are any legal recourses either, but the tenants, the residents of Ingleside have been left out of the whole process. They haven't been informed on what's going on. And every day I get calls or concerns asking what's going on. Is the park sold? Do I need to look for other housing? Where am I going to go? And I wanted to bring this up because a mobile home park, when it's rezoned, it's not like an apartment complex. It's different. It's a unique situation. And part of that, the reason for that is that there are approximately 30 residents in Ingleside that own their mobile homes. And so essentially what's happening is when the property's sold, the land is being swept out from underneath of their homes. They're not just renters. And when that happens, the residents, in my estimation of our comprehensive plan now, don't have many options because probably in our comprehensive plan, I think most, if not all, of the mobile home parks are rezoned for retail, research parks, or high-density housing. And so the residents are forced to do something with these mobile homes that they own. The cost of moving a mobile home on an average is $2,000 for a typical mobile home. Honestly, a lot of the mobile homes at Ingleside, that exceeds the actual value of their mobile homes. And honestly, even if they were to move them and could move them, not many of them want to move them anywhere in Fayette County because they're afraid that this same thing is going to happen on down the road. And so I'm just communicating that to you to tell you that these citizens who are homeowners on a mobile home park have a unique situation when their property is rezoned for an apartment complex. They could sell the mobile homes, but honestly, I don't think many folks are going to buy a mobile home here in Fayette County because of the comprehensive plan and our plan for that. As I said, the cost of moving is too much. Some of their mobile homes are also older and therefore even difficult to move in one piece. That mobile home park has been there for 20-plus years, I believe, so they really have a neighborhood there. And so I just wanted to speak today for the people of Ingleside. Most of them pay $300 to $500 in rent, and in the research that I've done looking at the comprehensive plan, the housing and neighborhood section, the wording that I found on the website for that, the average rent in Lexington for 2005 was $715. According to the Center for Housing Policy, the fair market value for a two-bedroom apartment in Lexington is $622, which is well beyond the range that the residents are paying currently. Probably what's going to happen when the mobile home park is finally sold, the residents will finally know for sure what's going on. They'll get a 60-day notice, and those that own their own mobile homes will probably be left without an alternative and just have to take the loss and leave their homes there. So I wanted to bring this to you today just as an issue because I'm pretty sure down the road more mobile home parks are going to be sold or changed. And that's understandable. I understand why that occurs. And I really don't have all the answers either as to how to help the residents. But I just wanted to come to you today on their behalf and tell you that the situation is very difficult for the residents of Ingleside Mobile Home Park, not only in finding comparable housing in Lexington, which at the current rate that we're at is very difficult to find at a $300 to $500 range, but also with the fact that many of those that purchased their own mobile homes years ago are going to lose them. They don't have the alternatives they need for that property. So I just wanted to bring that concern to you today. Thank you for your time. And I have a friend of mine here, Chal Knox, I believe, that also wanted to speak to this issue, Richard, or we could say that for the end of public comment.
Well, that's okay. We're going to make it speak. I just want, Adam, I do want to follow up is I brought this issue up a couple of weeks ago. Commissioner Helms knows about it, and she has, if anyone needs help, she would just give her a call.
Okay.
And she'll be working with you on that. Okay. And I know you involved in that, so I don't know if you have Commissioner Helms.
I think we do. I can look it up on the
I think
website.
it's 258-3800, I believe.
Right.
I think that's what it is. And she's willing to work with you and they've got some ideas to try to help out.
Right, and I appreciate that, Richard. I'd also say, for future reference, if there's not someone like me to be a liaison for the residents of a mobile home park, then it could be very difficult, even worse for them. They won't have any idea what's going on if the landlord's not, fulfilling his role in informing them. They'll be slapped with a 60-day notice one day, and bam, they're out. So I don't know if there's any way for us to prevent that from happening, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Well, I think Councilmember James had brought up maybe putting some kind of policy and procedure in the trailer park that you brought that up yesterday in our training, that's an issue that she has concerns about, and I think the input that you've given is really important concern for us in the future, and especially from the information I'm getting from the tenants. They still don't know that the place has been sold, and they've been informed that it has not been sold. Right. And it's just a confusing situation. I think it's a tragedy, but appreciate that. And I'll let the gentleman back there if he wants to come up and speak.
Thank you.
If we could get you to give us your name and address, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, actually I did sign in the back. My name is Charles Knox. My address is 2160 Jasmine Drive over in the Garden Springs Neighborhood Association. And I just wanted to echo kind of the concern of Mr. Jones, specifically a little bit more broadly in terms of just our city's, the avenues that low-income families have in our community as far as purchasing single-family affordable housing. With the rezoning of the Ingleside Mobile Home Park, as Mr. Jones has mentioned, this is happening not just in Ingleside, but it's a trend that we're setting in Lexington. And my concern is, are we replacing that zoning with other places that those people can move to? Because as Mr. Jones has said, people that currently own their own homes right now, although they don't own their property, they own their homes, are left with little to no options. And I, for one, as a homeowner, my wife and I just purchased our own home about 2.5 years ago, and it's an incredible boost of self-esteem. It gives one a sense of independence. It gives one a sense of ownership and identity in the community, a sense of belonging. And I think to take this away from these people is a bit unfair. Again, I know that that's not something that anyone here is doing. It's just part of the process. But I feel very badly for these people that they've been caught in a bit of a difficult situation. Councilmember Stinnett mentioned earlier, as a kind of a reflection from the retreat, the idea of Lexington planning specifically in terms of economic development, and I'm excited about that. I really am. I love Lexington. I have had opportunities to move other places, and I would never want to move anywhere else. I love this city. And I would like to encourage you all to include in the plans for economic development more single-family affordable housing, especially whenever one area is rezoned, whether it's rezoned to commercial or high-density housing, that would be balanced out in some other part of the county, in some other similar neighborhood. And I guess that's essentially what I'd like to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Maloney. And Commissioner Kelly, if you and Councilmember Maloney could brainstorm a little bit about the particular railroad crossing issues in your district, we'll try to take a look at those. Thank you. Councilmember Gordon.
Yes, Mayor, I meant to make mention of the Big Sister Cities Week last week. We had about 25 French. It kind of varied day to day as to who came and who left from our sister city, Deauville. It was on the occasion of our 50th anniversary with Deauville, France. We signed the partnership in 1957, and so in celebration, not only did the French come, but we had about 10 Irish folks here from County Kildare, and I believe his title was the president of the British Racing Commission from Newmarket. And we had a Japanese representative from Shindinaka. It was a wonderful week. We had a lot of folks in our community who sponsored events. All these folks toured Donnemeyer Farm. They went to the races at Churchill Downs, had meals in our restaurants, witnessed the signing of the recharter by Mayor Newberry and Vice Mayor Isabel from Deauville. And it was a really, really wonderful week of international partnership. And I know some council members were able to attend some of the events, which concluded with the dedication of our signpost at the Courthouse Plaza. And if you haven't had a chance yet to see it, please go down and see it. It's a wonderful addition to the courthouse plaza. And Councilmember Beard and I had the occasion to spend some time with the Irish, some of whom may be watching right now. We told them about our web streaming of our meetings, and they wanted to know what time. And so I'm hoping they're watching, and we say hello to them. And we learned some new vocabulary from them. And so if either Councilmember Beard or I refers to being gobsmacked, that's not a dirty word. It means we're just incredibly surprised by what was said or done. We learned a lot from them, and the economic and business and educational partnerships that are going on with Lexington and our sister cities are really terrific. And so thank you for your part in that, Mayor. It was a fine week.
Thank you. Any other council members wish to report? All right. I have several unrelated items that I want to pass along to you. First, and one of the more significant ones relates to Councilmember DeCamp, who was honored today by LexArt as their Philanthropist of the Year. The National Philanthropy Day lunch was held today over at the Hyatt, and LexArts recognized Councilmember DeCamp for his outstanding contributions to the arts community, and I just wanted to say congratulations. That is an excellent event, and the Association of Fundraising Professionals hosts it each year. If you have the opportunity to attend in the future, I would encourage you to do so, because you hear a lot about some really wonderful things that are going on in our community as a result of a lot of philanthropic efforts. Second, we have a guest here today from the American Red Cross. Dwayne Edwards is here. And I have a little proclamation that I'd like to read, and then I'll present it to Dwayne here in just a moment. Whereas the challenges faced by those serving our country in the armed forces and their families are great, and the Bluegrass chapter of the American Red Cross has played a unique role in helping to meet those challenges, and whereas the need for support services for military families and veterans has risen dramatically, and whereas the Bluegrass chapter of the American Red Cross provides both active duty and community-based military with emergency communications that connect them with their families in times of need, and whereas the Bluegrass chapter of the American Red Cross provides other critical services such as access to financial assistance, counseling, and assistance to veterans, and whereas prior to deployment, through the Get to Know Us program, the Bluegrass chapter of the American Red Cross orients soldiers and their families with an understanding of Red Cross services and veterans benefits available to them. And whereas each year the Bluegrass chapter of the American Red Cross assists veterans in medical facilities in a variety of ways, including physical rehabilitation and dietetic, nursing, and ward services. And whereas all services to military families and veterans are provided free of monetary compensation or membership fee. And whereas service to the armed forces and their families is a historic and core mission of the American Red Cross. Now, therefore, I, Jim Newberry, Mayor of Lexington, Fayette, Irving County Government, do hereby proclaim November 13, 2007 as the American Red Cross Service to the Armed Forces Day, reaffirming the commitment of the American Red Cross to support military personnel, their families, and veterans. I think it is appropriate, particularly here during the week of Veterans Day, to take time, as we're considering a lot of philanthropic efforts in our community, and to just say a special word of thanks to the Red Cross for all that they do throughout the year in so many ways for our community, but particularly for all the help you provide our veterans. So, Dwayne, thanks very much for being here today. Councilmember Gordon.
I would like to add my thanks to the Red Cross also. When our son was in Iraq, we always attended the Get to Know Us Before You Need Us potlucks, which were attended by lots of soldiers and sailors and Marines and Air Force moms, dads, aunts, uncles, whoever. And you all were also very, very helpful to us when he was over there. We had a death in our family, and we knew, because of our pre-connection with you, we knew what we had to do. And you provide an incredibly important service to the families of the military folks, and I just wanted to add my own personal thanks to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Gordon. Now, a little piece of housekeeping business. I am advised by the Department of Public Works and Development that today is the date where residents ought to have a public hearing to deal with to comment on changes to the urban services district. These are changes primarily among newly constructed neighborhoods and neighborhoods that have requested a change in their service level. So in order to move this process along, I need to call to order a public hearing to allow residents to present questions or concerns regarding the urban service changes process. Anyone who wishes to present their concerns before the council can do so at this time. Does anyone wish to comment? If no one wishes to formally address the council, then they may contact Kevin Wente at the Department of Public Works and Development, who can answer any questions that you have, and that will conclude our public hearing on that point. Finally, I have previously circulated some recommendations for various boards and commissions, and motion to approve those and place that on the docket would be in order.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember DeCamp. And a second by Councilmember Ellinger. Myers, Councilmember Myers. Any discussion? Then those in favor, please vote electronically. Aye. Those opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. Thank you very much. That's all I have on the mayor's report.
No, Mayor.
Councilmember Stinnett.
Going back to the public hearing, was that advertised publicly?
I'll defer to Kevin Wente. I think it was.
And have you received any response back from any neighborhoods at all? I know you and I just met on one that this would fall under that type of public hearing, I believe, for they wanted to change their tax district. Correct?
Are you referring to the streetlight issue?
Yes.
That actually is not a formal process of, as far as decorative streetlights. They can petition for streetlights if their street does not have that. It would be a formal process, just as if they were requesting refuse collection.
But not to remove them, though?
No, sir, not to remove them.
But if they wanted city streetlights, this would be the time to petition, right?
That is correct. But during the course of this calendar year, we did not request or receive a request for that type of service.
So when did the public notice go out for this?
That would have been, I believe, at the end of August that notification was sent out.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Last item on the agenda is public comment on any issue other than those which were on the agenda, and Mr. Jones and Mr. Knox have already commented, so I think we're squared away. Does anyone else wish to comment? All right. Ma'am, if you would step to the microphone here and give us your name and address, you'll have 3 minutes.
My name is Mary Chavaria. My address is 1201 Devonshire Avenue, number 47. I know that it's been rezoned and its pending sale is coming. When I paid my rent, I was offered a home off 4th Street or to move my trailer to Georgetown, Scott County line. All I'm asking is to tell you we need some kind of mediator between the Shaloshes and the homeowners there. Somebody that's not opinionated and has nothing to do with that, because they're not going to help us unless we have one. Please listen to what I'm saying. I've lived there for 18 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chavaria. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, I believe it's Councilmember Stevens. Do you have a motion?
Yes, unfortunately, that wasn't the last item on the agenda because we've added an addition, And I move pursuant to KRS 61-.8101C to go into closed session for the purpose of discussing pending litigation matters involving the Lexington Fayette Urban County government.
Is there a second? Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor, please indicate by voting aye electronically. Those opposed, vote nay. If you've not yet voted, please do so. Thank you. The motion carries, and we'll stand in recess until the chamber is vacated.